Greetings, red and black fans. This is Flamengo. Welcome to the Paparazzo Rubro Negro channel. If you're just arriving, please follow, like, and share on all platforms. On YouTube, subscribe below, turn on notifications with the bell, and leave a like on the video. I'm with my aunt sleeping with the fan on, man, first class buddy. I come to the pool every day. I'm recording here with him because he comes too. He stays under the little umbrella, catching a bit of gentle sun, that soft warmth. Man, here it's a bit earlier. Man, but the little fan, you guys have no idea. Seriously, you have no idea. He stays under the umbrella with the fan and white noise. Man, it's all good, really. And you who have kids too, you're here watching us with your kid in your arms. Tell me I'm here with my kid in my arms. I'm taking them to school. Tell me about it. How are things in your relationship with your child? Guys, what kind of world do we want? I saw people saying, oh, whining, paparazzo, old school soccer is back because of that fight between Cruzeiro and Atletico, that fight in the Kings League. My friends, look, if I want to see a fight, I'll watch the UFC. If I want to see brawling, I'll watch the UFC. I think society is getting motivated in the wrong way. With all these wars we're seeing, man, all this craziness, and I'm totally against war, right? So we're seeing these wars going on and from all sides, okay, people from all sides. I think, man, the world, this example we get from our leaders about wars, yeah, sometimes it's necessary, but it ends up leaving everyone on edge. You see, man, what's happening in soccer, man? Soccer is supposed to be about joy, right? And the kid is there watching the Kings League. The kid is at the stadium. Look at the example these guys are setting for the kids. Look at the example they're giving to the kids. No, seriously, guys, just look. I think it's important, and it's not about whining or politicizing, nothing like that, okay? I think we have to start fighting. For example, I don't want my son, I'm going to put him in jiu-jitsu, to train jiu-jitsu. Like I always did, I'm going to have him start training right away. At 4 or 5 years old, he'll already be training. Maybe even earlier, he'll be training jiu-jitsu, training fighting. It doesn't mean the child will be violent. On the contrary, they'll know how to avoid violence. Okay, so that's my message. It was quick, right? Just to have a chat with you guys. Look, today we have Flamengo's training at 5 in the afternoon. Once again, just like Jorge Jesus used to do, training at 5 in the afternoon, staying at Ninho do Urubu. The players stay there, sleep at Ninho do Urubu, wake up at 11 in the morning and have training. On game day, Flamengo plays against Cruzeiro tomorrow. Leonardo Jardim, who is our weapon, Flamengo's biggest weapon to face Cruzeiro, is Leonardo Jardim. He trains the team on game day, prepares them physically, keeps working on it. They're trying to find a physical balance for the players. And at 9:30 p.m., Flamengo and Cruzeiro, Leonardo Jardim's former team, a reunion. Jardim is our main weapon. So do you agree that Jardim is Flamengo's main weapon for this match against Cruzeiro? We're here thanks to mais cabello. You might be, look, my hair was extremely thin. Look, I'll show you. Ah, but you can still see a bit of my scalp, my friends. I was going bald. And the mais cabello treatment is amazing. They have weight loss treatments and hair treatments, so you can check it out. They have hair services all over Brazil, okay? Also, I'll leave the contact for Haroldo's Caravan so you can secure your spot at Flamengo's games. Outside of Rio or in Rio, with tickets included, okay? The games in Rio have tickets included. Haroldo's Caravan, the one that never lets you down, is welcoming, amazing, and for games outside of Rio, it's a complete package. Well, all our other sponsors, IP Florida as well, Vivi Homes, Orlando. If you want to dollarize your assets, look for Vivi and she will find the best house for you. So get in touch and you won't regret it. Look, we have some important information to share with you. Regarding Fabio Luciano, we've been following Flamengo fans speaking out about Marcos Braz. Man, they saw Marcos Braz at the stadium. Right away, they started commenting because he said he's back in Rio de Janeiro, right? It ended up stirring up the crowd, right? The people, he went to the Flamengo game, right? The final, and then how about him? He arrived at Maracanã and gave interviews to everyone, said he was back in Rio, right? He left Remo. And man, our video went viral. It's reaching 500,000 views. Our video of Marcos Braz, 500,000 views. Okay, do we know what he says? I came to cheer for Flamengo, right? And then we had a lot of Flamengo fans commenting, okay, gratitude for everything. Marcos, Renan Santiago, official, Gil Matador. Gil Matador must play soccer, must be a striker. Welcome back, genius Silvio Andrade. I never thought I would miss Marcos Braz. Silva Mays said, go back home. Willem Emiwi said he helped Remo reach Serie A. That's good. Super professional, praising the hiring of the coach. He never spoke badly about the current president. That's it, Braz. You know your worth. I like that too. I think Flamengo needs more unity. Okay, so a lot of people, obviously, there are fans criticizing and everything, but let me tell you, it's not even divided. No, I thought it was divided. A lot of people are praising Marcos Braz. The fact that Marcos Braz went to Maracanã, showed up there, talked to the press, and praised the hiring. Leonardo Jardim's is very important, actually. The hiring of a. There's a signing by Braz, which was Charlie Alcaraz, but Felipe Luis ended up letting him go. And I think he could have been very useful, man. He could have been very useful. I would have liked to see Alcaraz get more opportunities at Flamengo. He stayed a short time, man, just a little. Then he went to the Premier League. I would have liked to see Charlie Alcaraz with a little more opportunity. Look, I'm here to bring you a lot of information. Carlo Ancelotti will be present at the Saturday derby, Botafogo versus Flamengo at Engenhão. Representatives from the Brazilian national team will be at both of Flamengo's matches this week, so there will also be representatives at the game against Cruzeiro this Wednesday. Former Flamengo defender Juan Santos will be together with the physical preparation coordinator Cristiano Nunes and performance analyst Tomás Araujo following the match against Cruzeiro at Maracanã. Then on Saturday, Carlo Ancelotti, Rodrigo Caetano, Juan Santos, and Simone Montanaro, the performance analyst, will be at Engenhão to watch the derby between Flamengo and Botafogo. The presence of CBF representatives at the matches shows that Flamengo players are being constantly observed and could be called up for future squads with an eye on the 2026 World Cup. Leo Pereira is on the preliminary list, and other players could also end up being called up. Yeah, look, we also have some information to bring you about the refereeing, right? Flavio Rodrigues de Souza will referee Flamengo versus Cruzeiro, okay? The CBF has set the refereeing lineup, so it's Flavio Rodrigues de Souza, Alex Sangue Ribeiro, Luiz Alberto Andrini Nogueira, both from São Paulo, okay? And Flavio is also from São Paulo. The VAR will be handled by Caio Max Augusto Vieira from Goiás. I'll just say one thing, man, again. Right, again. People are joking around saying we should call Popo to be our defender because of all the fighting that happened, right? People are joking that Flamengo versus Cruzeiro could get rough. But man, I don't see Flamengo and Cruzeiro like that. No, I don't usually see that atmosphere with Flamengo and Cruzeiro. The real rivalry is Cruzeiro and Atletico, right? Yeah, I will. So let me tell you guys. My concern with these referees they bring from Sao Paulo is because, man, Flamengo is always competing for the Brazilian championship with who? With Palmeiras. Flamengo is competing for the championship with Palmeiras, man. We don't see them putting referees from Rio and Palmeiras games like they put referees from Sao Paulo and Minas in Flamengo's games. It's impressive, man. It's impressive to point out that Flamengo's squad is looking to turn things around this season under the leadership of Leonardo Jardim. And they're all in with Mr. Is that information from GE that the squad wants to turn things around under coach Leonardo Jardim? The players made it clear that they didn't consider it ideal. They didn't think it was the right move to fire Felipe Luis. However, they want to leave this situation behind and embrace the new coach. Man, that's really important. The fans need to do that too, okay? The internal mindset of Flamengo's group is one of unity, looking to turn the page and get back to fighting for more titles. That's what needs to be done. That's what the fans expect, and that's what the players have to do now. Regarding the possible change in the football department, we've already said here that even though there's a lot of talk about a possible dismissal of Boto, what Flamengo is finding as a solution is a director, a former player, to act as a bridge between the football board, BAPE, and the players, the locker room. And this name has already been chosen. It's Fabio Luciano. The name is Fabio Luciano. He had an engagement with Flamengo over the weekend in Rio de Janeiro. And one of the people who would take part in the event said that he canceled this engagement. In fact, that engagement of my friend Alejandro, right? Alejandro from Perfumiland, friend of Felipe Luis, friend of many Flamengo players, friend of the board, friend of the guys. Even Leandro Peixes Frito was there too, right? The people there, the folks from Camelo, the pizzeria, right? I know that this meeting right there at Camelo in Rio de Janeiro is the meeting where soccer personalities are present. And Fabio Luciano, he canceled the trip for this meeting. And what they told us is that he canceled. Because if he went to Rio de Janeiro, someone would already take a picture of him, that he was in Rio, and they would start saying, oh, he came to negotiate with Flamengo, to sign with Flamengo. He's choosing to, tone down this situation. He toned it down to avoid it. Why? Does it end up getting in the way? I said, well, but it ends up getting in the way. So that's what he wants. So what they told me was this. At first, he was a bit hesitant. That's what they told us. That he could refuse and all that, but that he's leaning towards, the greater tendency now is to accept. If Flamengo really confirms it, he should accept. That's why he doesn't want to get into speculation. He avoided going to Rio de Janeiro to prevent people from saying he was there to pressure or close the deal. He kept to himself, but now things have changed, right? Turnaround. Fabio Luciano should accept taking over Flamengo. What do you think? Is it an interesting name? Let's check what fans are saying. Gabriel Orphan posted on our social media. Honestly, man, I think it's a really good name because it takes the pressure off me, off Boto and company, and even off Leonardo Jardim. There's a guy there to deal with the fans, deal with the players, and deal with the board. It's kind of a middle ground, right? A compromise, and it's really important to have that person. But it wouldn't help to have a former player, a guy doing that if he didn't have Fabio Luciano's attitude, right? That ability to know how to talk to the fans, to the directors, to the players. It had to be a guy who really knew, a captain, someone who really understood what it means to be a captain of Flamengo, right? Yeah, people are saying, oh, the best name, and some people are saying Diego Ribas would be the best choice, but man, they're not going to bring him, especially because of Diego's friendship with Felipe Luis. They were even together, right? Diego shared a weekend photo of them together. And I'm going to say something. I got some information that might even be exclusive, but I'm not sure if I should call it exclusive because I don't know if the people in Sao Paulo have already published it. That Sao Paulo, before firing Crespo, reached out to Felipe, right? And Felipe didn't want to talk, so he wouldn't do the same thing they did to him. He didn't want to talk, so I don't know if Felipe can still take over. We know that Rafinha likes him a lot and everything, but Sao Paulo, okay? Information. Sao Paulo was interested in Felipe Luis, and Felipe Luis initially declined. Okay, so Felipe Luis came up as a name, a possible replacement for Hernan Crespo at Sao Paulo. A lot of people are saying that Diego would be much better. This guy has no connection with the club at all. I disagree. I think Fabio does have it, even though we know he's a Corinthians fan, I think, right? He also played at Corinthians, but he has a connection with Flamengo, just like Renato Augusto has a connection with Flamengo. I really like the name Fabio Luciano. Are people praising the work of our reporter, Gabriel Orfon? Yes. Are people saying it would be amateurish for BIP to bring in Fabio Luciano? Yes. It's not amateurish. No, man. He's a guy who's going to take on a completely new role in soccer, right? Yeah, look. They should have already taken the captain's armband from Arrascaeta, Bruno Henrique, and given it to a guy who actually speaks up on the field. Lucas Barbosa is talking there, and I get it too, man. I think sometimes Flamengo needs a guy who speaks up more on the field. I agree with him on that. Yeah, okay, people are saying he has zero experience and all that. Call Diego Ribas, but what's the difference? Diego Ribas too, it's fine. Diego Ribas gives talks and all that, but both of them have experience. Okay, I'm not here to keep defending. No, that's it. In fact, there are a lot of people saying it's perfect. Yeah. Yeah, look, I'll say this, man. People are divided, but I'll say this. Corinthians people don't work at Flamengo. Bring in a guy who's a Flamengo fan, Felix Emeterio. The same thing with Corinthians people don't work at Flamengo, man. That's the thing. I'll tell you something. I understand those who are talking. In fact, my choice. I've already told you I have no problem saying this. It was Mancuso. It was Alejandro Mancuso, my choice, okay? I think that, by the way he acts, he's a diehard Flamengo fan. And that's where the difference is that people talk about, oh no, he's not inexperienced. He has already coached in the World Cup, coached Argentina in the World Cup with Maradona, has already worked with Messi in the Argentina national team. He's the guy who teaches coaches at the AFA. He's the director of the coaching education department there, right? From the AFA coaching school, which is the best coaching school in Argentina. So honestly, for me, the ideal name would be Alejandro Mancuso. All right, we're just bringing the news here. Nobody here is trying to make things up or create a situation. Nothing like that. Let's go. Look. The arrival of Leonardo Jardim to take charge of Flamengo could change the way the club looks for a striker to be Pedro's backup. With Felipe Luis, the preference was for already established and bigger name players. Jardim, on the other hand, usually works in a way that's more open to scouting and may consider less well-known, less expensive players. Okay? The signing of forwards in March isn't ruled out, but we know it's more likely to happen in the middle of the year, right, if the opportunity comes up. But the idea, from what I've been told, the priority is for the middle of the year and the end of the year. But the middle of the year is ideal. That's for the World Cup break. A name that pleases the coaching staff and the board, okay? If no name convinces them, the plan is still to look for a striker in Europe, but it doesn't have to be a big-name striker, a Galactico. Very expensive, no. Okay, so Leonardo Jardim's arrival, guys, it's important to mention here, as the new coach of Flamengo, could change the way the club looks for a striker to be Pedro's backup or to compete for a spot with Pedro, okay? Flamengo is not going to follow the profile that Felipe had been looking for. So they might sign Marcos Leonardo. Leonardo Jardim likes Marcos Leonardo. There's an opportunity with Marcos Leonardo. But then that's a Galactico. That's expensive. It's expensive, but maybe a loan or something. So for the middle of the year, Marcos Leonardo is not ruled out. No, he's not ruled out. Because Jardim, as far as I know, Jardim likes Marcos Leonardo. It's a name that could come up again and would have Leonardo Jardim's approval. Unlike Felipe Luis, who didn't exactly rule it out, but wasn't as excited about the possible signing of Marcos Leonardo. Okay? Is that so? Let me also bring this information here that winning the Rio Championship helped ease the atmosphere at Flamengo after the troubled departure of Felipe Luis, right? Internally, the players felt the dismissal of the former coach, took some responsibility for the bad moment, and want to move on. Like we just said now, right? For you guys, is that so? I just wanted to bring this information here, that Leonardo Jardim didn't have time to fully implement his philosophy, and the tendency is that his ideas will gradually show up in the coming weeks. Not even against Cruzeiro, the biggest weapon. He already knows Cruzeiro's team, but he can't implement it right away in these first games. But little by little, right, the defensive sector has already been improving, so it's possible that we'll see, with each game, a slightly better Flamengo. Look, I was telling you that Flamengo is changing its recruitment profile, going more towards scouting, going more for names that might be interesting. Regardless of what the previous coaching staff thought, Felipe wanted a forward with more mobility, pressing, and all that. That could change. We've already talked about that. So with that in mind, ESPN brought an exclusive here, right? Bruno Andrade from ESPN Brazil reported that Flamengo is monitoring. The forward Santiago Castro from Bologna, Italy, a 21-year-old player, is currently valued at 40 million euros. That's a lot of money for a gamble, huh? But Flamengo, according to Bruno Andrade, is monitoring. Santiago Castro from Bologna, Italy, a 21-year-old player, valued at 40 million euros. Santiago this season played 37 games, scored 10 goals, and provided 3 assists to his teammates. He averages 66 minutes on the field per match played. Okay, the transfer window only opens in the middle of the year, so it would be for that World Cup break and so on. It's a possibility, but the signing would only be possible in the middle of the year. Okay, so Santiago is 21 years old, man. 40 million, I'll tell you guys, huh? That's a lot of money for a 21-year-old player, right, man? The numbers, honestly, he's Argentinian, right? He's Argentinian. Even though he has 10 goals and 3 assists, that's a lot of games. Honestly, 40 million euros is a lot of money. Guys, come on. Am I crazy? Comment. Am I crazy here, or is that not scouting? Sorry, but for me, 40, a player valued at 40 million euros, unless he comes for 10 million euros worth 40, then that's scouting. You found him, got a good price, but 40 million euros is not scouting. So that's how I see it. It's a lot of money. Let me know what you think. What do you think? So that's it, guys. I invite you to follow, like, and share on all platforms. If you're on YouTube, please subscribe, turn on notifications with the bell, and like the video. Thanks for your company and greetings to all Flamengo fans. This is Flamengo. Thanks.